So if you've been following the channel, you know I love me some self-pub, and I cannot think of a better way to ring in 2023 than to talk about 10 new to me authors / series. Hey everyone, welcome back to Andrew's Wizardly Reads, and today guys, like the intro said, we are here to talk some new self-pub. But before we get into that, make sure you do all of that YouTube nonsense, like, comment, and subscribe, as it does help the channel grow. We are looking to hit 5,000 subscribers by the end of 2023, and I could really use your help. And make sure to check the description box down below for the link to the Wizardly Duo Discord, as well as links to all my social media and information about my Patreon. Now that said, guys, one of my main goals of this channel is to just promote the love of reading, but I also love promoting self-pub authors because, you know, it can be kind of hard to get your name out there, and frankly, right now, self-pub is killing it, and I just keep getting more and more and more self-pub. I could not be happier with this. Guys, I've got 10 books here. Now, this is not a top 10, this is just 10, but I'm really excited to read a lot of these in 2023, and hopefully you find something that sounds interesting. We're kind of gonna go over the cover, the author, a little bit of the blurb on the back. Hopefully they're not too spoilery, and see if anything catches your fancy. So without any real further ado, let's jump right on into it with this first book, and that is Victoria Tekken's Phase. Now you might know Victoria Tekken as Tori Talks, and that's because this is her book. Fantastic YouTuber, fantastic person, and self-pub author. And from what I know of this before I read the blurb on the back, is this is kind of a darker YA, I believe, supernatural story. And so it says, Val lunged against the restraints, wrists burning, everything was white. According to the Domestication and Assimilation Organization, Val and Lyle Blackwood are the most dangerous kind of werewolves. So we've got werewolves in this story. Although they were raised in the wild, their true blood heritage has made them little more than experiments for years! Now their freedom depends on their ability to become as human as possible. Thrown into an assimilation school with humans and werewolves who have never known what it means to be wild. Trapped in a world where they don't belong and fighting to stay one step ahead of the horrific past that chases them, any wrong move could send them back to those stark white cells, losing their last chance of freedom. And that right there, my friends, is Phased by Victoria Tekken. This is a review copy that was kindly sent to me for review. I like a good werewolf tale. Wow, what was that Kate Beckinsale movie? Oh no, I'm not gonna remember it right now. Underworld, there we go. Ha! I did remember it. Underworld, I loved Underworld when I was growing up. This kind of reminds me a little bit of those Underworld vibes. And this is not going to be the only werewolf book making this list. Next up, this comes from a husband-wife duo author. Now, they write their books separately, but I've already read his books, and now I'm excited to read her books because he writes fantasy, and she writes period mysteries. And you would think that Andrew of the Wizardly Reads isn't going to read a period mystery. Well, that's where you'd be wrong. I'm planning to read this in February. Ha! Joke's on you! And that is Butcher, Baker, Candlestick, Taker. I almost said Candlestick Maker. But this is book 1 of the Spokane Clock Mysteries by Patricia Meredith. And this is the wife of Andrew D. Meredith. This is how she got on my radar. But again, I did love mysteries when I was in high school. So, right here on the back, Archie Prescott has traveled across the country to design the new iconic Spokane Clock Tower for the new Great Northern Railroad Depot. When his talent for creating unique clock chimes connects him with a local patroness, he is thrilled until she is discovered dead in the workshop of his new colleague. Her grand home on the South Hill provides ample suspects as Archie works with his lodgers, Detective Carew, and his twin brother to prove his fellow inventor and himself innocent of the crime! While on the hunt for the murderer, romance crops up when a young lady crosses his path with a mysterious past of her own. 6 intersecting storylines create a cohesive look at a convoluted murder that will require all points of view to discover the truth. That not only sounds fun, but engaging as well. I'm looking forward to this. I believe I'm going to be buddy reading this with my good friend Kay from Kay's Hidden Shelf. She's amazing, and I cannot wait to get into this. There are 3 books out in this series, and I have all 3, but we're only going to show you the first one. Next up, remember I said there was more than one werewolf? That's NC. I'm not going to say the last name because I am going to butcher it, but it's right there. This is The Sword of Mercy and Wrath. A fantastic cover. Nice spine, too. Do these have good spines? Tori's spine is amazing. Okay, yeah, sorry. I'm doing a very poor job of showing you the covers. But we've got a werewolf on the back. We've got Banff on the front. And it says, "Vengeance cuts a bloody path." So this sounds like another dark YA supernatural story. Celine wants revenge on the werewolves that destroyed her family and mutilated her body. When the secretive order of the Golden Sword offers her the chance, she lets go of her past to become a fully fledged Sword of the Order. Her pain drives her to excel at hunting and killing the creatures, drawing the attention of the unnerving Lord Inquisitor. She's tasked with hunting her childhood love, Tristan. She must put her feelings aside and accept he's become a monster! Ah! Sorry. But when she sees him for the first time in years, old passions come rushing back, and she uncovers the dark secret about the monsters that the Order has kept hidden for centuries! Again, NC... I want to try it. Nope, I'm going to butcher it. I don't want to butcher somebody's name here live on camera. My mouth refuses to say that. So somebody will have to tell me how to pronounce that. Next up, we've got A Blade for Hire by Christopher D. Brand. I hauled this one a while ago, and I just quite haven't been able to force it onto the TBR. But it says, who and where is Amaris? The question that will dominate the fortunes of Hale, a former soldier turned blade for hire. And could they yet decide the entire fate of Umbria? After a bloody fight to protect the Lady de la Flaye, Hale is offered a new task by his patron and frequent employer, the Lord Bartholem, to travel to Andred and escort 2 priests on their journey to find their missing contact. Known only as Amaris, but despite the priest's assertions that this is a routine job for a routine payment, the task quickly turns into a lethal game of cat and mouse, as Hale and his charges find themselves pursued at every turn by a relentless and deadly foe. This is magic, muskets, mystery, and mayhem, all unleashed in this swashbuckling fantasy thriller. And that is, what's cool is the blade kind of wraps around. That is Blade for Hire by Christopher D. Brand. We're going to start putting them over here. All right, next up, I've had some lovely discussions with, kind of back and forth with this author. And we've got Godfrey's Crusade by Mark Howard. And beautiful, beautiful cover. The sequel to this one just came out. I need to go ahead and pick it up. A crusade is called to aid the kingdom of Asgard in the distant Nord's lands, and a young idealistic knight, Godfrey, does not hesitate to volunteer. Yet Godfrey soon learns that the greatest threat to the expedition's success is not the savage clans under High Warlord Alvir and the Great Witch of the North, Nera, or the orcs and cyclops that fight beside the clans, but the rivalries between the Crusaders themselves. Well, that sounds interesting. Can Godfrey interpret the vision granted to him by the gods and unite the Crusaders with his holy blade? Will his love, Madeline, be able to keep her magical powers hidden from suspicious priests and opportunistic lords? Will they be able to stop Nera and Alvir from unleashing an ancient evil upon Asgard? Or will Godfrey and his friends all meet a bitter end in the frigid Nord land? Gorgeous book. This sounds interesting. I just kind of love the lone knight on the back of a horse here. All right. I think we're almost... That was halfway. Okay, we're making good progress. Next up, we've got Curse of the Fallen by H.C. Newell. I've got the first and second book of this. Gorgeous book. My buddy Jordan gave this 5 stars, which immediately lets me know I'm in for a special treat because we are the same person. We have the same taste in books. So if he loves something, I know I'm in for a good ride. Good read? Ride? I don't know. Both. Curse of the Fallen. Magic is the purest form of darkness, and those born of its powers must be purged. So I'm getting a little bit of a darker vibe here. Born of magic, Narana is labeled a demon. Rawr. And the cost of such treason is her life. Forced into hiding by the Order of Sorrow, she seeks to disenchant a curse that keeps her just within their grasp. After years of searching, she finds her redemption lies within the forbidden caves of Namacel. I'm gonna go for it. I'm just gonna swing for the fences, Namacel, where ancient magic and formidable monsters lie in wait. Through perilous trials, enemy territory, and finding trust in those she was taught to despise, Nirana soon learns that the journey to releasing such deadly magic may prove more fatal than the Order itself. But for Nara, this is more than a quest for survival. It's a promise of revenge. And after looking at this cover, I'm gonna say, the cover is just so fluorescent and blue. I love that. I wouldn't have guessed the darker tones to the back of the blurb. So this sounds like a darker fantasy, and I'm here for it. I am here for it. Also, I'm sensing a little bit of a supernatural vibe in this video. So, yeah. Let me know if you agree in the comments down below. Next up, I did mention earlier my friend Kayla from Kay's Hidden Shelf. And I know she has read this one and is enjoying the series. I won't get tongue-tied. The Spoken Books Uprising, Part 1 by D.T. Kane. This is the Actus. This is the Actus Trials. I have all 4 books in this series. And, yeah, this one sounds super interesting. Wait till I read the blurb on the back of this. It says, reading books can get you killed. In the land of oration, magic is cast by reading aloud words of power from spoken books. Only a select few, the speakers, are born with the ability to do so. But after a disaster nearly destroyed oration, society grew to fear the speaker's power, and they were hunted and enslaved, never taught to read. Now they live in oppression, unable to use their magic unless a spell is first read aloud to them. Each year, young men and women from oration's ruling libraries compete in the Actus Trials, a journey that takes them through the wilds of oration to the ruined city of Tome. There's just so many bookish themes, like oration, Tome. I love this. I think this is so cool. Sorry. Once oration's capital is now abandoned. Though the great library at its center still holds a wealth of spoken books, as speakers are no longer taught to read, they also cannot write, so new spoken books have not been created in hundreds of years. The discovery of a new book is a coveted prize for any young noble. And it just goes on and on and on, and I'm geeking out already. I'm trying not to just turn off the camera and start reading this one. This one sounds so cool. I can't wait to read this series. It sounds amazing. Next up, we have got GDL Rossel's The Rune War Saga, Book 1, and this is The Throne of Ice and Ash. This is a Norse fantasy. I think the only one on this list. And yes, I believe the 3rd book is getting ready to come out in 2023. There is a 2nd book that I do not own yet. But in the frigid storms of winter, leaders and warriors are forged. Hey, look at that. Just beautiful cover. Sorry. Bjorn, son of the Jarl of Oakharo, has always felt more at ease with a quill than a sword. Yet when tragedy strikes his family, he must draw a blade and lead a company of warriors into the cold, deadly mountains in pursuit of a mysterious enemy. But vengeance comes at a high price. Alethania, Bjorn's sister, was born with an aptitude to lead, and she's eager to prove it, but her society's rules for women and her love for her brother restrain her efforts to command. As she walks the fine line between ambition and virtue, the city stirs in unrest, and even her allies question her right to rule. The Rune War is rising, and it begins with the fall of the throne. That sounds awesome. I've been hearing a lot of great things about JDL Rossel, so I believe I've got the ebook, or not the ebook. I've got an audiobook. There we go. I couldn't remember what the term for audiobook was, which is silly because I'm always listening to them. But I've got another one of his audiobooks, but this is where I want to start because it just sounds so awesome. We've got 2 left. Next up, we have got The Fangs of War by E.J. Dobble, The Blood and Steel Saga, Book 1. Beautiful spine, gorgeous cover. I believe the 2nd book is out in this one, and I think this is another dark fantasy / grimdark, whatever you call it. Let's check out the back. On a silent shore in a distant land, the world was coming to an end. After the brutal execution of Provence's king by the roving forces of Taraz, a new military government vaults into power when with the nefarious Alvarez at the helm. Hell-bent on bloodshed and the glory of an imperial past, he amasses the largest army seen in a generation and plunges the two nations into a bloody war. Against the will of the godlike being known as the All-Mother, Kavara, a general of the army at odds with her superiors over the war, is ground under the heel of the scheming commander Revik and betrayed by her own people. Left for dead on a distant shoreline, saved by a passing ship, and taken to the other end of the world, she is plagued by visions of a white void and a figure known as the Shadow Woman, who begins to unravel the true nature of the war, a conflict not only of men, but also of gods alike. In a story of hope, power, greed, and hatred, all are driven mad by the enemy within. None are safe from the fangs of war! What it isn't good for. Sorry. Anyway, we have got the only sci-fi making this list. That is Dark Theory by Wick Welker. It's beefy, it's gorgeous, it's amazing. We've got that nice serrated blade there on the back, and I believe the author is currently working on the audiobook. But let's read the back of the book. A robot yearns to remember. A thief struggles to forget. A galaxy on the verge of collapse. On the fringe of a broken civilization, a robot awakens with no memories and only one directive: find his creator. But in the village of Korth, Pietro finds only radioactive pestilence, famine, and Marie, a tortured thief who dreams of retiring after her final score. Meanwhile, the fiefdom is plunged further into chaos when a new warlord seizes control, recasting serfs as refugees and leaving derelict robot peasants in his wake. With a shared interest in survival, Pietro and Miri team up to pull off an impossible castle heist, steal a single flake of dark matter, the world's most valuable and mysterious ore. But as they trek through the feudal wasteland in search of answers, they realize the true extent of the chaos surrounding them. The stars are disappearing from the sky. The entire galaxy is unraveling! And as he uncovers his origin, Pietro discovers he may be the key to the salvation of the cosmos, or its destruction. Time, space, and loyalty become relative as he learns the real reason he was created. And that is Dark Theory, guys. And that brings an end to this rather long and beefy video. Please let me know in the comments down below which one of these stories or multiple stories sounds interesting to you. And that's it, guys. Till next time. Peace out. Stay magical. Bye. And as always, I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons.